So as promised, here is my video review of the film I watched on the plane. This was the Best Picture nominee from last year, John Crowley's Brooklyn. So I didn't watch it last year, obviously, because I was only watching films directed by women. And then I've been sort of not trying to watch it because I knew I wouldn't like it. And I try to avoid things that I know I won't like. But it was on the plane, and I was like, I've got time. I'm on the plane. It's not going to cost me any money. So I watched it, and I didn't like it just as much as I didn't think I'd like it. I didn't hate it. Like, I'm not going to say this is a bad film. It's not a bad film. I just wanted more. I didn't find the stakes high enough for me to care about any of this. I didn't like. I felt like all of the women just more felt like paper dolls. They didn't really feel like real women at all. And for a movie that's so full of women, I'm just like, it was kind of hard to watch so many just talking heads that didn't feel like women at all, and didn't like, and they threw in like one time where someone's asking about lady times to be like, look, we know how women talk when they're alone and women. I know. It was just it's just a bummer. And it just felt too like it didn't try for anything at all. Um and it was pushed as this big like romantic triangle, but really all the romantic triangle shit happens at the very end and the main thing that irritated me was everything happened for her way too easily. I guess it's supposed to be a fantasy because so many of these things, it was just like she didn't have to struggle for any of this. It was all supposedly this like emotional heft, but because I didn't feel any of the emotions, like none of it registered for me, the emotional journey just didn't work. And so then there was like no journey. It was just like watching paint dry in really nice costumes. It's kind of how I felt. And usually I liked Saoirse Ronan, but I don't understand why she was nominated for an Oscar for this performance, to be honest. Really, the only person in the whole film that I enjoyed was Emory Cohen. I thought he was really good. And his brother was played by one of the guys that's in Francis Ha, I think. Otherwise, I just really didn't care for it, which is a bummer. But I knew I wasn't going to like it, so what are you going to do? It's the same producer from An Education, which is why Nick Hornby wrote the screenplay again. But I liked An Education, and this one just didn't work for me in the slightest. So, anyways, I'm gonna be on the pile of like 3 people who didn't enjoy this film. So that was John Crowley's Brooklyn. I know that I didn't really say much, but I'm also really tired and I have to go to bed because I've been traveling for 48 hours. I didn't like this film. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. I'm sure it's perfectly fine.